another episode of the Utah County Republican Party podcast. I'm the party vice chair, and I'm also the host of the show, Charles Max Wood. And I'm here with Paul Binns. And Paul, you're running for Lehi mayor. Just to kind of get things going, it's nice for people to kind of know who you are, what you do, what you're about.
Right.
So you want to just introduce yourself real quick, and then we can get into the issues?
Sure. So my name is Paul Binns. I've been a Lehi resident for a little over 10 years. We came to Lehi because at the time I was a district manager for Farmers Insurance.
Okay.
So I was commuting from West Jordan every day to Orem, Utah every day. And we have two daughters. I have two daughters. One's 19, one's 17.
Okay.
And I was missing some key times of their lives because I was on the road. So Mrs. Binns said, hey, it would probably be a wise idea if we moved. Right. At the time, she wasn't really excited about Utah County. But we came down and looked, and we fell in love with Lehi. We fell in love with the surroundings of it, the people of it, and we moved here about 10 years ago. And we have thoroughly enjoyed it ever since. I live on the south side of Lehi, so I live right there off of Pioneer Crossing.
Oh, okay.
So I deal in the wonders of traffic each and every day as our neighbors
with
push.
The construction.
Absolutely. Orange barrels add a lot of fun to what we do. So anyway, so we moved down there, and we've been here ever since. My business currently still in Lehi. I'm just up here in Thanksgiving Point.
Okay.
And so I stay in Lehi every day, all day. So it's kind of a little bit of who I am.
Yeah. Still in the insurance business.
Still there. Yep. 25 years. I started a scratch agency in 2001.
Oh, okay.
And so started from zero and made it work. After 7 years, I became a district manager. Did that for 10 years, kind of got tired of the corporate America side of things, and bought some agencies here in Lehi, and we've been great ever since. So
good deal.
That's a little how we work, but still there, still doing it. Have several employees that work in the office.
Yeah.
So life is good.
Good deal. Yeah, I've worked in a couple of really big companies, and it's not my cup of tea either. The company I'm at now is about as big as I care to get, and they're honestly almost too big. So, but yeah, it makes total sense. So, you said that when you moved here, you fell in love with Lehi. And to me, it kind of helps set the stage a little bit when you talk about what you like about Lehi. And I guess when we get into it, like what's the Lehi that you want to lead us into as mayor?
Right. What we fell in love with is, and it was really tied to our neighborhood, but what we figured out is it's very community driven. Mm-hmm. It's very family friendly. Right. And we love that. Our kids were just at the tail end of elementary school. One was actually just kind of there in the middle of, one was getting towards the tail end. And we loved the family feel of the local schools, the local community, the local, the religious part of where we were at. It fit who we were, and it fit kind of our core beliefs. It fit where we wanted to go. It fit our kids. There were 1 million kids here to be friends with. For our kids, and it just was a fit right from the get-go. Right. So that's really what drew us in, and the fact that at the time there was land. We bought a half acre. I mow my lawn on a riding lawnmower. I love that I have a piece of property that's it's ours that we're able to use, and we can stretch a little bit. So we love that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the next piece is how do you preserve that for us going forward as the mayor?
It's hard to do. And I think my beliefs with it is we're large. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at 10 years ago, we were only 60, 70,000 people. Right. Today, we're almost 100. But I think one of the keys is how do we move forward with high density and strategic growth? And I think when you do it strategically rather than overnight, you can do it and hold some of those core values of who we are, some of the traditions and heritages of where we've come from. When you kind of spiral a little bit with high density housing and some of those other things, and we're doing it at the drop of a hat because someone wants to come in and add it or the state told us to, then we lose the feel. And you lose the character of what Lehi truly is. And so that's some protections that have to be in there. We have to strategically do it. If not, this place changes overnight, and but we really have to make sure we're looking at that.
So, just to be clear, I mean, are you like totally anti high density housing? Are you cautious about it? Are you,
I would say I'm very cautious about it. We have to have it. There's a need for it. Absolutely, there's a need for it.
I hear a lot of people rail against it. So why do we need it? And why do we not need it? And what are we getting right? What are we getting wrong?
Yeah. So I think we've added such a large amount. And what's happened is when you add such a large amount, we forget to build the smaller homes. And so what happens is you cap growth on the single family dwellings. Well, when there's only so many single family dwellings in the city, guess what happens? The price goes up.
Yeah.
So you have to really monitor of what's coming, what's going. Number two is you got to look at where you're building. Where's a good place for infrastructure, for schools, for markets, for commercial that allows those things and travel to happen and do so in a more seamless way versus just here and there and everywhere. So, I mean, over by me on 11th West, a couple of years ago, they wanted to put in 600 high-density homes in between two neighborhoods that are all half acres and thirds. So it just kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, but it was someone's project and they thought it would be a great idea. Well, it probably was a good idea on paper. You could see that. But when you look at how the city's built, it's not a good idea. That's not the place for it. So you have to really plan strategically and hold to those. High density is needed. I mean, it's needed. I have a 19-year-old daughter who is going to need to move out to an apartment probably sooner. I'd like her to move sooner than later. But those are things, that hopefully she's got a full-time job and she's working and doing those things. And the day will come, either she gets married or finds a roommate and they've got to have a place to go. That's not a $500,000 home, but a place that she can fairly rent and survive there and grow her personality and her life and all those things that will come with it. So there is a place for it, but I think we have to be very cautious. I like that word that you used about growing and moving forward.
All right. So you're talking about, maybe doing it in the right place or doing it in the right way or, maybe not doing it in certain circumstances. So how do you juggle that? How do you make that make sense?
I think one of the key ways is we really have to stick to how we zone, and we have to stick to how we zone. And I think that's kind of been the interesting part getting into this last couple of years is it's how we zone, but how quick we are to change the zone. If the zone was good years ago, it's still good today. And it protects you and I as residents, as property owners. It helps us. It protects us. But when a zone becomes so easily changed at the drop of a hat, you have to wonder then why the zone.
Right.
And so we really need to protect those zones moving forward and know where they are and plan accordingly to the zone. And then you can work. Not that a zone can't be changed. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But I think the circumstances have to be 100% correct for that zone then in the future to change. You look at commercial. We've given some commercial land away. We haven't given it away, but we've changed it from commercial to high density.
Right.
And so those are things that have to be planned to accordingly, but it has to be done in a way that a lot of things have to align for that zone to change, which keeps us moving.
Yeah, I've driven through parts of town where it looks like they put in a whole bunch of high density housing, and I'm just sitting there thinking. I mean, granted, I don't want to live in a smaller place anyway, but the other thing is I look at it and I'm like, there's no parking here, or there's no, all these people have to drive all the way across town in order to get to the grocery store, or things like that. And there's plenty of room to put it in. And so, it seems like a lot of that is going in without any consideration for how do these people actually live here.
Right.
Right. And so what you're talking about makes sense. And then, absolutely. Right. If they, because we've got some fields around us here where we're sitting, and if they put in a big apartment building on any of those, I mean, the traffic here would be horrendous trying to get in and out, and it just wouldn't make a ton of sense. But if you've got some other space where you can kind of design it for the traffic and everything else,
it's planned accordingly.
That makes way more sense to me. I kind of want to back up just a little bit because, we kind of got into the high density housing because you mentioned it. But are there any issues that are kind of your top issues? Like if you could pick one or two?
Infrastructure would be my big one. And running for mayor is a little different than running for city council.
Right. Because they're usually the ones that are changing the zoning.
Those are the guys that mess with that stuff. But I think infrastructure is key to who we are. So safety, so we've had this massive growth,
right?
Yet our public safety has not massively grown.
Mm-hmm.
How is our infrastructure? I mean, we still operate. Downtown Lehi still operates like it's 1985, and so
in some ways it still looks like it's 1985.
it does, right? And so there's some things that have to be done on the mayoral side in City Hall to make some of those corrections, and a lot of it's found within the infrastructure of the city. So when you develop, how does the infrastructure look, or how does it keep pace with that development? And that's the mayor's job is how is our city operating infrastructurally to maintain that pace that we're growing with. Sadly, we have not maintained it. So over 16 years or 15 years of pretty hard growth, our infrastructure lacks severely. Now, I get it. I understand that sidewalks, some people own to the middle of the street in Lehi, which is still odd, right?
Yeah.
But when you come to an old city like this, or you go downtown, those people bought to the middle of the street many years ago, and truly they do. Their deed goes to the middle of the street. So it's not easy just to go in and say, hey, we're going to put in a sidewalk. Sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, but it works with collaboration. It works with working together to provide a safer place for all of us to live. I've been on a couple ride-alongs with our police officers, and these guys, men and women, are awesome.
Yeah.
But to see what they do, to have a third, I mean, they're missing a third of the force just because we haven't grown that department with the growth that's come. And those are things that need to be tweaked and moved. And that's a mayor's job, is to get in there and do that, and then present to the council, hey, here's where we're at. Here's code issues and all these other things that have stymied us a little bit with the growth that we've sustained over the last 10, 15 years. So infrastructure for me is a very, very important thing. And I think that's where we got to start. And to be honest with you, I don't think Lehi has to be shook upside down and emptied out. But I do believe there's quite a few tweaks along the way that small tweaks can lead to very large changes, which help everybody. And ultimately, that's what I'm running on, and that's what I want to do, is get in the system, manage the system, manage it to the very best and to the most, economic way, and what's the word I'm thinking of? Efficient, right? Our job is efficiency. So we have to do it in an efficient way when we're spending people's money. And when you do it with efficiencies and you do it the right way, everyone tends to win. So that's the infrastructure part of it. I mean, there's budgets that I think are important.
Let's get to that in a minute. I want to ask more infrastructure questions. Because I mean, you bring up some of these issues, and I mean, I don't know that I haven't looked, I guess, but I don't know that crime's really gone up in the city. But I would imagine still that some hiring of police officers is preventative, as much as, because, if stuff's going on, we need people to respond. Right. And that means that we have people probably stationed or patrolling near neighborhoods. And you have plenty of people to cover everything that's going on. And the other thing is if there are events or other things, and, having more people makes all that work better. And so a lot of that makes a lot of sense to me. And we've grown a lot. Yeah.
And it's gaps, right? So you look at Lehi City, we sleep 95,000 people. During the day, we're about 120 to 130,000 people. Right. We operate currently on a police force of only 67 officers total. That includes the chief, the deputy chief, 4 lieutenants. So when you take those 6 guys out, you're really operating on 61 guys and gals. And so, to be honest with you, Chuck, we live in Mayberry. This is a pretty awesome place. But it won't last forever. Right. And in order to get the families we want, right, what we first talked about, you have to prove safety. We got to have safety here. So it's not that we need to go hire the 41 officers we're missing tomorrow. That's not the answer. Right. But the answer is a 5-year plan of getting ourselves an additional 25 to 30, and according to however much we grow over the next 5 years, to sustain that growth. And I don't, riding with the police officers, I don't think we don't want to have directly 41, but 25 changes a little bit of who we are. And it really provides the safety where we can patrol streets a little bit better. I mean, 23rd West was just closed, right? It's been closed forever, as you know. You drive down that awesome street.
I live here.
Right. And the hard part is a lot of that traffic went to 17th. Yeah. Well, what they were doing is they were treating it like it was still 23rd at 45 miles an hour. And the residents were like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's a simple call to the chief to say, hey, can we just sit a car out there just to remind people? But sometimes the chief is strapped enough because he doesn't have enough to merely just park a car there to make sure the people on 17 are safe. So those are things that you have to look at that I think are easy tweaks.
Right.
But like I said, it's not hiring 41 tomorrow. It's maybe hiring our 25 or 26, but it's over a 5-year period where the budgets can handle it and where we can bring them in. The other problem with police officers is you can't just go hire any police officer.
Right.
There's a culture. There's a chief who hires certain things.
Right.
So we really have to we want to be picky choosy about who we bring in. So there's a myriad of piles that go with that. But ultimately, I'd rather have that problem than we just got to hire people because we got to hire people.
Right.
So we're still ahead of that. Mayberry still rolls, but it won't last forever. We have to stay on top of that so that Mayberry lasts, quite honestly, hopefully, for you and I forever.
Yeah. So the thing is that I like what you said about having a 5-year plan, right? Yeah. Because at that point, then it's not just, because it seems like a lot of times stuff gets ignored until something terrible happens.
Right.
Right. And instead, if there's a 5-year plan, then hopefully we just never hear about something terrible happening.
And then hopefully over 5 years, it builds itself out, makes the inside corrections, and away you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what you really hope for. But
yeah. Well, and, getting into some of the other stuff, you mentioned the sidewalks and the roads. I mean, I've been driving down Pioneer Crossing. Actually, I've been taking Main Street about half the time because it's so bad.
Yes.
Right. And I understand that we have to do something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that, I keep hearing plans about widening 2100 North, but frankly, that's going to be another huge project. It's going to take years.
Yep.
If whenever they get around to even starting it. I don't know how much there is in the way of other options. I've heard stuff about like 19th South getting widened. I've heard stuff about, parts of Main Street getting widened. I don't know how that would ever happen, but you look at some of these things and, and then you've got 2300, which did get widened, but the bottleneck is all the way down there by Thanksgiving Point when you come under the train tracks. And so I don't know. I don't know how you solve some of this stuff.
Here's how I think we approach it. I think you have to approach it in a collaborative way with the state and with our neighbors. So when you look at Davis County, Weber County, Davis and Weber County have the Speaker of the House and the Speaker of the Senate.
That's true.
And they've done very well up there. But to their credit, they've also come together as communities. So it's not Roy out there all by itself petitioning for its own road.
Right.
It's Roy along with all those other cities and municipalities that sit next to Roy, and they go together. And I think that's where Lehi has to be. We have to be a good participant and a good neighbor with Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, American Fork, Highland, Alpine, and even Draper, some parts of Salt Lake County. And I think when we unitedly approach the state, then I think it's a different story.
Right.
Versus a single hand up in the classroom going, hey, I have a problem. Right. But I think that's the collaboration you have to enter with first. And that's me. I'm a sales guy. I've been for 25 years. Let's go collaborate with our neighbors and work together. Number two is the state is moving on some of our stuff. 2100 North will be a freeway here, but it's 4 years away.
Right.
Pioneer Crossing, which is my backyard, is going to go to flex lanes, which is going to be fun to learn to drive on, right, for a lot of residents. And it will... That
I can see how it will ease traffic, but
it will. But it's going to be fun.
I've never driven on anything like that. I saw the video on Facebook or something, and I was like, okay, I can see what they're doing there. I have no idea how that works.
and I've driven on it up in Taylorsville. My in-laws still live on 5400 South, so we're familiar with it. But I will tell you, it's a great Band-Aid. But it's not an ultimate fix.
Well, they're still growing in Saratoga and Eagle Mountain.
Oh, yeah. And they're going to keep growing.
And they're going to keep sending traffic through here because people have to get to work.
Yep. You got to get to the freeway.
And let's face it, Redwood Road is just a thing.
It's a thing. And you got Mountain View Corridor coming, which will help into that south end of, but it's not the cure-all fix.
Yeah, well, and they keep discussing whether or not they're going to take it this way or that way, and how big it's going to be.
Where it's going to go.
And so, how much of a fix is it going to be? Is it going to be... And the other issue is like when they put in Pioneer Crossing, my understanding is the original plan was to have it be much larger.
Yes.
And then they didn't do it. And so when they built it in, it filled up way faster than it should have because they didn't build it out. And I worry that they're going to do that with Mountain View Corridor and some of these others. And then we're going to wind up in the same boat in a few more years.
Yeah. And I think, and then that's a hard one, right? So on Pioneer Crossing, for example, if they ever made that a freeway, it would take out 121 of my neighbors.
Right. It would take out a whole bunch of houses.
Straight up to my backyard.
And nobody wants to do that.
No, heavens no. And so I can tell you right now, UDOT's and MAG is putting together a task force called PEL, and they're going to do some North County studies, and they're starting at the start of the year, and they're looking at some final plans they could really lock into and go, okay, this is the plan, let's go. But here's my promise is we have to be at the table.
Yes.
We are a key proponent to that. We are true crossroads. You got to get on the freeway in Lehi. There's no other way to get on it.
Right.
And so we are the crossroads. And so we have to be a very active participant at that table. Yep. But we need our neighbors to be active with us.
Right.
United to go get the plan and get it done right the first time.
Our problems are their problems in a lot of ways.
100%.
So, yeah.
Because they run to Lehi and go, what happened here?
Right.
All right. And we want to work with them. We want the best plan available. So, but we've got to be really good participants in the same sandbox and collaborate and work together. And, sometimes you got to give a little bit, you got to take a little bit, but those are things that are very important. If we get right the first time, boy, we can solve a lot of issues that way.
Yeah. I think my father-in-law would say that we're trying to fit, speaking of the traffic, 20 pounds of manure in a 10-pound bag.
Oh, it's a whole lot more than that. Yes. It's large shells.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned the budget, and I kind of want to get into this. I have to say I'm not the hugest fan of your opponent, but I got a text from her, and it said, hey, I'm a fiscal conservative, and we've balanced the budget every year and stuff like that. My response, I offered to debate her on whether or not she's a fiscal conservative, but yeah, you see a lot of this stuff, and sure, they may have balanced the budget, right? But and you also mentioned City Hall. You mentioned it as kind of where they run the city, but they're building that huge building down there. They bonded out for $20 million, I think.
So the first bond is $22 million,
right?
But remember, they're building a city campus.
And that's $68 million. Yes.
So
but they're not going to raise our taxes, folks. They promise.
Part one is only $22 million.
I'm trying to math that out. How do you spend $68 million on that block or two and not have to raise property tax or sales tax or both?
Right, and property tax is coming, right?
Yeah.
Sales tax is there. We'll see where it all lands. As I've taken a peek into budgets, I mean, here's the problem with City Hall. We're loaning this money, and we're paying large amounts of interest on this money. For unnecessary change. So,
but yeah, we're not. We can service all the debt, and so we're
right.
So we're balanced.
That's good, right? Meanwhile, we're paying millions of dollars. Interest, and that's the issue.
Well, but then the other thing is you come back around if you can't afford it, and you take it out of my pocket, right? You have that truth in taxation. We all show up. We really don't want you to raise the taxes. Okay, that's nice. Pat on the head. And they raise taxes anyway.
Right.
The school board does it too.
Yes.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. I've had this conversation with both city council candidates that I talked to because it really frustrates me. And then the other thing is, now my mother-in-law lives in American Fork, but if she lived in Lehi, she's on a fixed income.
Yeah.
And so if you raise a property tax and you keep doing it, right, she's got to come up with that out of food and everything else that she's got to pay for and gas.
It doesn't just produce itself. It doesn't come out of nowhere.
And she's not going to go get a better job. She doesn't have a job. She retired. That was the whole point.
Right. That's the issue. So one way around it, and here's the fiscal part of me, and this is the business part of me.
Right.
But I think what we have to truly understand, we've got to get in with every department in the city. And there's a lot of departments. And you have to get into every department and go, I need an accounting of where every dollar and penny is being spent.
Right.
Because ultimately it's the people's money. It's not our money. You're asking us, the people, you're hiring us to run it. And I owe you an accounting of where that money's going.
Oh, absolutely.
So when I can provide an accounting...
Do you want to run the federal government for us?
No, that's way too big. But when you look at it, you can't simply just break it. You got to go department by department.
Right.
Where are the dollars and cents? But if I go dollar to dollar and I go department to department, then I come to you going, Chuck, we got a problem.
Yeah.
But I can show you the problem.
Right.
It's easier for me to go, I got to bump this a little bit. And you go, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But when we have, for example, and I'll pick on the Legacy Center.
Right.
The Legacy Center currently turns $2 million in the red each year.
Right.
And it's stuffed with people.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd walk through the place and go, how in the world is this native? There's a gazillion people in here. Well, I'll tell you why. Because Saratoga Springs doesn't want to build one.
Right.
Highland Shirley doesn't want to build one.
Yep.
So their residents attend our place. And guess what? They do it for a few dollars more than you and I do.
Right.
That's not right. If you don't live in the city of Lehi and we're not collecting your tax dollars, you should pay a far higher premium.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the premium, go talk to your city government about building their own.
Yeah.
But we should flush that at zero. The Legacy Center should operate at least at zero, if not for a couple of dollars in the black. But those are little things, city assets that cannot operate in the red. They just can't.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense.
So you got to fix it. And that's an easy fix, right? We were just
if you're operating at zero and I'm getting a huge discount to go, right, I pay taxes, fine.
That's exactly, you paid for it.
Yeah.
You should be able to come at a very nominal rate to flush us at zero and use those. Right. But if we're operating $2 million in the red, you're paying tax for it. And you've got all your neighbors that are paying the same price as you. It's just not right.
Yeah.
So there are things your neighbors aren't paying for it. We are, and we already paid for it. So that's just one example of an easy place where we can find and choke and fix.
Right.
And that's just one of many. There's many of those that we can go in and look at and make right. So. Right.
Absolutely. I love the idea of going department by department and just, and it sounds like a big job. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that the city does.
Oh, yeah.
And this seems like, because it's interesting, and maybe you can explain this for folks, but, the city council does one thing and the mayor does another thing. But the mayor mostly operates a lot of this stuff. And so you'd be in a position to do this.
Yep. So a mayor really operates in City Hall. He or she works directly with city management. We have a couple of city managers. And from the city managers down, you have departments.
Right.
And so it's just like any corporation. And so you get in that corporation, you have weekly meetings with your heads of departments as to where. And it's simple.
We just elect the CEO.
Yep. So the CEO comes in and goes, hey, city manager, I got to hold you accountable. Tell me where it's going. Or, hey, here's an idea. We tried this. Or, hey, have we looked at this? Or, hey, let's look at this department. The other thing I really think is key for a mayor. A mayor's job is to really solidify the top of our management.
Right.
We can't have broken splinters in the top of our management.
Right.
Now, let me explain it. Give you an explanation. The streets department might be a little upset with the traffic department.
Yeah.
Well, not both of them's always going to win.
Right.
But together we have to win.
Right.
So roads might have to give up a little bit to the traffic department. Or the traffic department might say, you know what, roads, you're right. We don't like that, but it makes sense for the people.
Right.
And the simplicities of the city will give a little bit. That's the cohesive nature, or should be the cohesive nature of a city. Mm-hmm. And when you have that cohesiveness, everything runs a little smooth and everyone's helping each other. Right now, I know a little bit because I've been and interviewed a little bit and talked to some people. We need some cohesion at the top.
Right.
And we really got to tie that together and work together as a team. And when you work together as a team, you innovate better. Mm-hmm. We account better. We employ better. And all of a sudden, we're working in a totally different scheme of things.
Right.
And strategies to really make things run a little smoother. Right. So that's the job of the mayor. You got to come in and you've got to work with these departments. You got to manage people.
Right.
And that's why I think it's important that we hire someone that has management skills or that has dealt with that. I've had to sit in an office before and go, how do I write payrolls? I mean, right? You've been there. You understand that. Yeah. Not everybody truly understands how that works.
Yeah.
Or, man, I am not getting out of that person what I need out of that person.
Yeah.
Is the person on the right seat on the bus?
Yeah.
Is there another seat on the bus that person can occupy? Or is this 100% just the wrong bus?
Right.
But when you've sat in that chair and you know how that works, it's handled totally different.
Yeah.
But I think you need experience in those lanes to understand when you walk into a city of 700 plus employees of going, hey, we're going to pull up our bootstraps, we're going to go to work, and we're going to do it together. And so I think that's the importance of really hiring the right person that's got that experience. I don't have political experience, but I have management experience, and I have a lot of it. And I think that would really benefit our city moving forward over the political experience. I think the political experience can be learned over time.
Right.
But I believe that's why we elect people to get in there, to share their ideas, to take their life experiences and put them to work. And that's what makes it so great. So,
yeah, absolutely. I want to just roll back a little bit to the finances. I mean, the city has bonded out for the new city hall. They haven't taken out the bond for the other 40-something million dollars for
$6 million
for the rest of that block. And maybe there are some projects there that we need. I don't know. I haven't gone one by one. But then they bonded $14 million for the family park. They bonded out for the fiber.
So fiber, they've bonded almost, I think it's a little over 60 million. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's a high number. It's very, very high, that number.
Right.
That bond will get a little bit back as the subscriptions come in. Right. So we will return on some of that. You're a podcast guy, so this I love this topic. The fiber's fantastic.
Oh, it's fast. I have it. I love it.
It's great, right? But what's happening is...
But what am I paying for it beyond my bill?
Correct.
That's my concern.
So because you're paying the city back for putting it in, which is, I get that. But what's funny is technology continually changes. And you have Starlink all of a sudden that is starting to get legs. Not that it's phenomenal. I still think fiber is better. But in 5 years, what does fiber look like versus what is the new technology that runs those things? And I don't know that we always took those into account because that's a large sum of money to build that out over 3 or 4 years for a network that will be good over time, but it will be obsolete fast.
Yeah.
And in the technology world, that's what happens. Technology becomes obsolete very fast. Will it be usable for many, many, many years to come? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
People have an option to Comcast. They have an option to Starlink. They have an option, which is good. And that's one of those things. But I'll tell you what, the city paid a very, very, very expensive price to put that in. So
I guess my question is, we see these bonds go out. I mean, again, I can't see my way to what they spent. And they only spent half of what they intended on the family park. They're spending $22 million on the city hall, and they plan to spend more. So my question is, how do we handle just the debt we have now without really, and maybe we do have to raise taxes at this point. Maybe we don't have a choice, but how do we do that with a minimal impact to people's lives? And then the other question I have is, when do you decide to bond out? Because it seems like sometimes, at least the argument's made that it's necessary. So in your mind, what makes it necessary?
I think that's a good question. And the question is how do you define the word necessary? Because someone obviously felt that a new city hall was necessary. Right.
But if I talked to Mayor Young in Orem.
Right.
And guess how much they borrowed? Zero. They got grants and they went through programs and they paid for it.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly why we have to know where every department sits and what's coming in grants and what's going out. And that is when decisions get made. Not on, hey, let's just bond it and see what happens. The problem with bonding, and especially City Hall right now, is there's a prepayment penalty on that bond.
Right.
We can't pay it off faster than... So this year, they were talking, the last city council meeting, they'll probably talk a little bit about it more tonight, but there's a $65 million surplus from the budget that's going to go into 2026.
Right.
Well, where do you spend that money? Well, you look at it and go, well, heavens, we just borrowed $22 million. Can we take that cash and lower our liabilities, right? And so those are things you have to look at. But the problem is I'm also tied because I can't pay that. I can't prepay that. So those are things that we've got to be fiscally better planned out.
Yeah.
And we just haven't. And we've got it. We can't get stuck in projects. I live down off of 7th West. Have you been down 7th West in the bike lanes? You seen those bike lanes?
I was going to ask you about that when we were talking about infrastructure. I totally forgot. Like, what makes sense to put in infrastructure? Because they put these bike lanes in, and I see people walking their dogs on it sometimes. And so last year was training for a triathlon, and it was kind of nice to ride down the bike lane. I still had to stop at every dang stop sign.
Right, stop. So that's one of those things, right? So are we doing pet projects because we want to become like San Francisco, so we run bike lanes like San Francisco?
Well, my understanding was there was some kind of federal or state program that something. There was a program. Money kickback, something. I don't know. And
I think sometimes, and I'll throw this out there, sometimes we look at grants and we're like, ooh, it's free money. It's not always free money.
No.
And I think although the public may understand, grant, just big G word, it's grant money, we're good.
I'd rather have another lane or two down 700 South.
So would I. I would rather have just even the 2 lanes and the regular bike lanes that fit upon that road anyway, that people are used to, that fit normal day life in all of Utah, where we all ride bikes.
Yeah. Not
just on one stretch where you're like, well, hang on a second, I'm going against traffic, and I'm riding in between parked cars and a curb.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just kind of odd. Mm-hmm. But I understand the concept and I understand the try. But what happens is that's $800,000 to $1 million.
Right.
One time. To maintain it, we have to have new plows to plow around that stuff. The city council currently is talking about running a curb to separate the bike lane from the road.
Because that's a major problem.
Not, right?
Right.
But that's an $800,000 machine that you would purchase to do that. So you look at those and you look at it, it all comes back to the budget we all learned as kids. When we first got married, we tried to run in our homes, we run a business where wants and needs are 2 separate columns. And when needs get taken care of, then we can look at wants and we can look at desires and we can measure those out to what the community is looking for.
Yeah.
But it makes it a whole lot easier to do it when you do it that way.
Yeah.
Versus pet projects. We've got to get away from pet projects.
Yeah.
Period. It's got to be neat. All needs should be taken care of. Once needs are taken care of, and if we know that we need a city hall, then we should be putting money away to build a city hall at some other point. Like Warren, what a great example.
Yeah.
Saratoga Springs right now goes to MAG and pays for roads before they build them. Then MAG pays them back.
Oh, really?
Yes. So they're not bonding out or they're not borrowing to build roads. Right. They're actually using cash they have, where the Mountain Land Association of Government's actually giving their money back. And it just goes back into account, builds the next one. But they don't have to wait on anything at that point. You can actually manage and build at the same time.
Well, and you can project what you have to spend in order to get what you need.
Correct. And you can buy when things are down.
Yeah.
When costs are down. You're not forced to buy when they're high or low. You can buy when they're low if you want, or you can buy when you want to.
Now they just need to invent a time machine so they cannot screw up Redwood Road.
Well, we got to go back a ways. They got to hurry and add another lane going further south, but we'll see what they do with
where
that.
they put that. Anyway,
that's a
different city's topic, different problem. Yes. Yeah.
That's Chris Karn.
Yeah.
He will be the mayor there. He's running unopposed.
Yeah, he's unopposed, so he'll.
Great guy. I've had lunch with him already a couple of times and visited him. And
I've chatted with him a couple of times. He's a good guy.
Nice guy. So good, and you know what, Chuck? Good thing to have good neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, even if it was somebody that was maybe a little bit hard to get along with or whatever, I mean, you don't solve the problems without talking to those people and understanding what their incentives are and what their concerns are and what they're trying to do over there. And then, to the extent that things can align, then you make it work. I mean, it's nice that we have somebody that we can work with like Chris.
Yeah. Yep, and he'll be, and like I said, we've been to lunch with him a couple times already. Actually reached out to one of his city council people, Audrey Barton. I actually ended up going to high school. I went to high school with Audrey many, many years ago. She reached out to me. She goes, "You're really going to run for mayor?" I go, "Absolutely."
Yeah. And
she's on their city council. So we have some connection there, which is beneficial. That's what we want. So.
Yep, absolutely. So we've talked about finances. We've talked about infrastructure. We talked about safety. I mean, what other things do we?
I'll throw one other at you that I feel really is important for our city government, and it's transparency. I really feel if we're doing the people's business, the people should understand the business we're doing for the people, and that's hard, but I believe it's very, very possible. I think I think our website in Lehi needs to be updated. I think we need to come a little out of the 20th century, a little more into the 21st century with our communications.
But it's got that nice little animation on it.
Yeah,
right?
isn't that great?
It's so
the
cool.
Building of those houses downtown.
Right.
But I think we've got to update some of that. I like that we send out a yellow note in your monthly utility bill, but I think we're past the yellow note. I think there's some money we can save there. But I think as we operate in a digital age, I think we can really use the digital age to help move us forward.
Yeah, the city should start a podcast. I know a guy.
Yeah, I do too, actually. I met him today, actually. But I think those are huge, important things to get information to people. When people have information, it goes a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I referee high school football on the side. That's kind of one of it's actually my release from life in general. But I can tell you, I've never had a coach whine to referees about over-communicating.
Right.
And we can't over-communicate.
Right.
People are far more satisfied when they know what's coming and what's happening. And I think we really need to jump on that. With that said, I don't think we should be making choices for the city at 12:30 in the morning with one person making public comment. I think we should call upon the residents. We need the input.
Yeah.
When you have input, it's easy for a city council to go, oh, well, the residents brought up something we had no idea or we overlooked. But man, information is power. And the more information you have as a resident, the more information downtown has as a government, makes all of it run in such a better, smoother, more efficient way. And that's what we're looking for, is efficiencies. So if you ask me for the cherry on top, that's it. How do we be more transparent? There's lots of ways, but it's communication. It starts with the communication button. And when you do that, I think people are drawn in. They know what's going on. There's no secrets.
Yeah.
Something's not being built that the neighbor goes, what is that? Boy, I would hate for that to happen. But and we want residents to call downtown. If there's a problem, boy, we would love to know about it. If your street didn't get plowed, we need to know. Yeah. We provide that service, but we have to open those lines of communication to make it comfortable to communicate and to get answers back. So.
Well, to me, it goes beyond just having the open communication, because it's one thing for me to feel like, you know what, I'm a little concerned about this or that, so I'll call the city. Right. It's another thing when I feel like, okay, what is going on, and I don't have to go and dig too hard to figure it out.
You know right where to go.
Right. Yep. And so that's a whole different level, and I love that. It's interesting because last night I was on a call. We get on a call every month with all of the other party chairs and vice chairs for the counties. And we were talking about elections and election transparency. Yep. And to not go into too many details, some of the things that were being brought up were things where essentially it's I want to be able to, maybe the data is too much for me to count on my own. Right. But if I can go get me and 10 of my closest friends, and we're willing to go sit in a room for a week, we should be able to audit the entire thing and know that it's okay. Yep. Right? Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that I would dearly love to see from more government is, at the state and county and city is, we have a question. Well, all the data is open. Yeah. Right? Yep. And it's easy to get. Yeah. It's easy to report. Yeah. It's simplicity of business. I can plug it into my computer. I can find some decent tools, and I can get the answers. Yep, and I'm not just shoved to another place, or it just repeats itself. Yeah, I actually can get it. And the greatest thing is, this, you're a technology guy. It's out there. Oh, yeah. It's all there. We just have to use it effectively. Yeah. And it's just some updates. Again, it goes back to tweaks. It's not a huge dump. It's just a tweak. Yeah. But it changes dramatically how we get information and how we share it. So, absolutely. Important stuff. Yeah, and I've had some data struggles with the county in particular, where I've asked for stuff and I get told no, or I got in one case I got back exactly what I asked for, and then in the other case I got the runaround and I finally appealed it, and then I got nothing. Then they're like, well, we gave you some documents, so go away. And but it's that kind of thing. It's like, well, look, all we're looking for is just some information. We just want to, make sure that we know what's going on. Yep. And, all that did is make me want to dig deeper. But
grab a new shovel.
right? But anyway, so yeah. So at the end of the day, I mean that's why it's so important, is because if I can verify it, then I can be comfortable trusting that what's going on is what I'm being told.
Right. Yep. And it's easy to find.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one other thing that I wanted to bring up with you that I didn't bring up with the city council candidates, and maybe I should have, is it seems like some of the issues that we have, specifically with zoning and high density and things like that, some of it stems from the city council just willy-nilly rezoning stuff. But it seems like a lot of the recommendations and stuff come from the planning commission.
Yeah.
And it's my understanding that the mayor appoints some or all of the planning commission?
Appoints all the planning commission. Yep. So planning commission is all mayorally appointed.
Right.
So yes.
So what are you looking for in the people that you appoint there? Because as far as I can tell, the people that are on it now, including one of our city council candidates, they have done a lot of things. I've heard complaints from people who are basically, well, the planning commission basically wanted to put this high density housing right in my backyard, and their main beef wasn't even that it was high density housing in their backyard. The main beef was that because the state law and the way that the zoning was put together, they didn't have to put in enough parking around it, right? And they're like, so people are going to be parking on my street and walking 2 blocks to go home,
right?
And they don't care because they're just following the mandate from the state. So how do you pick your people for the planning commission that aren't going to dig the hole deeper?
Good question, and that's one that will be ongoing. But I think we live in a city of 95,000 people,
right, and growing,
and there are some sharp people.
Oh yeah,
that understand it, and I think that's what you do is you go through those and you find those who tend to have or tend to know the same beliefs or see the same strategy of where we're going. And I think that's where you go. And you don't do them all at once.
Right.
They're one by one as they go, but they've got to be well studied in code. They've got to know what the Lehi City Code is. They need to understand Lehi water because that is going to be a large thing that's going to happen. They've got to understand zoning, and those are the things of changing zoning and approving zoning. And so there are some of those things that you're going to look for in people. I'm not interested really in going to find a developer necessarily or that guy, but I think there's a lot of men and women in the city who understand it, who've actually applied. I've as we've canvassed the city, we've found a lot of people who go, man, I applied for that, but I never even heard from anybody.
Right.
And so it's vetting, right? It's bringing people in, vetting them, seeing where they're at, and saying, hey, we need you.
Yeah.
We need you to come aboard. And bring them on and work with them and have them work through it. Then it comes to city council. City council owns the vote to it, but it comes on a recommendation or a denial or we need this instead of. And I think collaboratively, when you're looking at all that together, both a city council and a planning commission and a planning department, I think that's where you get the harmony in it, is when that cohesive unit works together. So that's where we'll start looking. We have a planning department. Those people know a lot of people too that would be, but it's vetting. It's really truly vetting people. It's not just saying, hey, oh, you're my friend, you're in. That's not how people are hired. I hope that's not how people are hired now, but
it seems like in some cases it might be, but
we have to find the right people.
You see it in politics all the time. That's my point.
It's constant, right?
And so,
but we have to be better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to be better than that, and you have to find the right people who are doing the right things for the residents of Lehi. Ultimately, that's where. Ultimately, and what I've learned, probably the greatest lesson in doing this is, we work for the people.
Yeah,
that's what we are being hired to work for the people. It's not a Paul pet project. I'm not interested. I mean, I'd love to be able to get on Pioneer Crossing all by myself and drive to the freeway and then get on the freeway all by myself. I did back in the day when COVID, you could get on Pioneer Crossing. You'd be one of the only cars out there. We don't want that again, but obviously, I mean, there's the desire is to help the people.
Right.
Because when the people succeed, again, it goes back to the Mayberry that we live in today. Protects it, protects the future value of our city. People want to come be part of it. And I mean, people are coming here. They love this place. And why shouldn't they?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. We just got to protect it. We got to do the right things to make sure we preserve what we have. So
yeah, absolutely. That kind of leads into something else I was going to ask you about. You mentioned developers, and I hear a lot of people complain and say some pretty nasty things about developers. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the incentives are kind of the way they are, and so they're going to play the games, right?
It's the nature of their business,
right? But and so let me give you a couple of things that I've been hearing, and then you can speak to those. So they want to build the higher density stuff because they make more money for their work. Again, that all makes sense. It seems like some, or I don't know if I'd say all the developers, but a good number of them, and some of them in particular, seem to have some kind of sway on the city council where, they kind of get whatever they want. And then the other issue is that extends all the way into RDAs, where they actually get a tax break on building stuff. I think the one that I thought was the most egregious that I heard about was that there was an RDA, and again, I hate using the jargon on the podcast, but basically an RDA is they pay reduced taxes.
Correct.
For
a certain amount of money until that money's,
right. And so, and so if they're not paying those taxes, that means I have to pay those taxes. And so, and that makes me unhappy, right? I mean, if it makes, and this is where it doesn't make sense to me, is because they're getting an RDA, and the one that I heard about was the one right by where the Lehi Temple's going to go.
There's two of them.
Right. Yep. And so I'm looking at that and going, you need a tax break to build here, where every other temple that's been built in Utah County, the second that they announce it, the property values go through the roof and then some. And so you need a tax break to build a house here that's just going to go up and up and up in value the closer they get to finishing the temple.
Right.
And so I guess my question is mostly around, can you explain how these development deals get made, and then what are you going to do different?
So they're made because they simply ask, right? And they know from past history how it all works in Lehi. Lehi has been very, very, very development friendly, which I'm okay with that.
Right. Good businesses. We need houses built. Great.
Yeah. But we give away something also. We should be resident friendly. Developer second. And so there's a fine switch there. When we're resident centric, or we're resident centric first to our residents, then the developers have to play by the rules that are set up. So you don't get a lot of development agreements. Remember, a lot of this development happens, and they may see a kink in the zoning and go, well, the zoning really doesn't allow you to do that. No problem. We'll overwrite that with what we call a development agreement. So we'll change it for you because you're willing to do this.
Right.
We have to get away from those. Not that they're bad, but they're only used in very certain circumstances.
Right.
And so
where it makes sense.
Yes, where it makes sense, use it. But it's not on every one.
Right.
They should fit under the building code of Lehi City. If they don't, well, then we're sorry. We have to be able to say no. We have to have a backbone to go, we're sorry that doesn't fit. Darn it. I mean, if you'd like to take it back to the drawing board, take it to the drawing board. But we're not just going to willy-nilly do it because future says. Now, when you get into the tax portion of things, Lehi's like probably one of the best places to build. And the land that they did some RDAs up there, in my opinion, is probably some of the most sought-after land in all of this county.
Oh, yeah.
100%. And we gave tax incentive to build there, not only for high-density residential, but for commercial. Right. Now, we do a huge disfavor to our commercial partners that are already there.
Right.
So they're going to put in more grocery stores. Well, what did we tell Harmon's? Harmon's, you're great, but we don't like you that much. We didn't give you money, but we got to give Target money.
Right.
Well, why?
Yeah.
The land is going to be used. Target's going to put it there, so they don't put it in this year and they put it in next year. We didn't lose anything.
Right.
Nothing was lost.
Right.
But it says a lot. RDAs really are used for redevelopment, like I grew up in West Valley City. There are probably parts now of West Valley City that need redevelopment. And you have to use tax incentive to get people back in and redevelop a portion of that. That's what they really should be used for.
Right.
Or when Lehi was brand new and we said, hey, Cabela's, man, are you serious? You would really put a shop here?
Yeah.
And you use it for that one, and then all of a sudden Cabela's comes in, and then you have economic growth from that.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. Saratoga Springs has done one in its history.
One RDA?
It's Costco.
Yeah.
So it's the Costco that's out there now. Costco paid it off early. They paid it off in 3 years. So Saratoga Springs is going, that was fantastic.
Right, because they're getting those taxes now.
But Costco comes in, and I guess what happens up to Red Road. I mean, we're talking about Red Road. It is a development of commercial that is feeding them beautifully. Yeah. Because you and I, as West Side and South Side residents, shop there. Because to get across up to Harmon's is terrible.
Right.
So we go that way and we spend our money in Saratoga Springs. In return, we get some phenomenal traffic.
Right.
Not that that's their fault or anything, but it's just planning, right? So it's strategic planning and making sure we're both planning for today, but planning for tomorrow. We have to plan out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we're going to miss if we don't. So miss those opportunities for commercial and those other things.
Yep, absolutely. And I guess that was the other question I had was, it seems like the cities mostly get their income from sales tax and property tax, right?
Well, so about 70% of the city's budgets is sales tax. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So is there a plan to bring in more commercial, and how do you do that?
So we have a couple of places really left.
Because I like them paying taxes instead of me.
Yeah, me too. So we've given away a lot of our commercial corridors. So there's still some spots on Pioneer. Mm-hmm. There's some spots on State Street. State Street really is a gem for our city. Mm-hmm. It's not a high-traveled road. It's kind of the secret if you want to move east to west right now. State Street's a really, really good way to do it. State Street does need some development up top. So that's 2100 North. There's still a few pockets that can be developed. And then, of course, Traverse Mountain, they're still developing up there. So there are a few pockets left, but we really have to protect those pockets for future commercial development, because that's what pays for our operation day in and day out. So we have to protect those pockets. We can't give those away anymore. We have to protect those zones for the sheer fact that is our future income to the city. 65-70% of it. So it has to be protected, and we can't give it away. Yeah. We can't say, hey, come here, we'll give you 10 years of tax advantage to build. We don't have that either. Right. And we don't need to. People want to come here. It is literally the crossroads. You have to come here. There's no other way to go around it. Yeah. So let's protect those. Let's build them up correctly. Let's get the right businesses in here. Let's continue to take care of the moms and pops shops that we have around here that are awesome, and continue to thrive as we have. Lehi has a pretty cool place to live because we thrive. Yep. There is some thriving here. But if we don't make sure that we protect the future thriving of it, it can die rather quickly. So we have to protect those corridors. Yeah. So,
all right, one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up. And that was, and you mentioned it too, but just water and power and stuff like that. So how does all that get managed? And
huge assets to us, right? So I grew up in West Valley, then we moved to Murray. Murray was in Salt Lake County, one of the last to still have their own electric department company. Right. Lehi's still one of those ones. Yeah. What an incredible thing. So we have to protect, those are assets.
Well, we get a great deal on our power.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But we have to protect those assets. They have to be run correctly. And I think they are. Water's an interesting one. Water, I don't know, and I don't know a ton about it. I'm starting to learn about it. Water has to become a measurable. We need to figure out, and then there's ways to measure it, but we got to start measuring and tracking. And we have to bring it up in each development to make sure we have enough to do it. And if not, we're going to say, hey, you know what? We're going to have to hold on that.
Yeah. Well, they're putting the meters in for the irrigation water.
Yep. So we'll start measuring
But that was state law forced the city to do it. But.
Yep. Are you on that yet?
Yeah.
They changed you. I haven't changed yet, so I'm holding out that they forget my neighborhood.
Yeah, they showed up and messed up my front yard.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, it's a measurable resource, and it should be measured and tracked and then planned for. Water comes from one place, the sky. Yeah. And that's it. So as much as I'm a faith-following guy, prayer and fasting is not our fix. We have to plan accordingly, and those things will take care of itself. But we have to plan and work those. But what a great place we live in, that we have electric, that we have water, that we have our sewer. And we control all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't ever want to lose those assets because they are huge to the success of our city.
Yeah.
So those are assets we can't afford to walk away from ever. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, if people, the camera just totally zoomed right in. So one last question. We've got like a week left for the election. So do you have any events coming up over the next week?
So we have tonight's city council. So we have everything tonight. Tomorrow we're meeting over with we're meeting over to the senior center.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday evening, nothing. Friday night, I'm on a football field. Saturday we'll canvass. Monday we'll canvass and get out and just shake hands, and our goal though is if you haven't voted, is to vote and invite 7 or 8 of your neighbors to do the same. In past history, and I'll be the first to admit it, we have filled out our ballots and stuck them on the counter, and then they get lost in the daily paper shuffle, and they're found, of course, on December 1st. You're like, ooh.
Yeah.
I missed my opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important to not only vote on the paper, but get it into that box as soon as possible. Yeah. In fact, I would tell you mailing right now we're probably on the edge of mailing as of today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I think people, so in past years, they would still count them if they came in late. Yeah. They don't do that anymore. They changed the law. And so if you put it in the mail, and it gets delayed, at this point, we're within a week. So if it gets delayed very much at all, your vote won't count. So there's a drop box over by the police station.
Yep. Public service building.
And if you're not sure where that is, just go over there where they're building that giant building that we're all paying for right now.
It's right across the street.
And it's right across the street to the east. And it's kind of over around the side of the building.
It's on the south end of the public safety building. Safety building.
Toward Main Street.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, just get over there and drop it in, and you're good to go. I know that they are setting up some in-person voting too on Tuesday.
Yep, that'll be at the Broadbent Room in the public safety building, and they will take votes as long as you're in line by 8:00. You'll have an opportunity to cast your vote. So
Yeah, I just want to make sure people know what their options are. So if I had to go vote for Paul, right?
Yes, please. Those are the ways to do it. Like I said, I'm with you. I think mail. Boy, we're right on the cusp right now. As of today, tomorrow.
I think you're pushing your luck.
Yeah,
put it in the mail.
I do too.
And then, do you have a website or other places where people can find you?
You can find information at binsformayor.com. If you click
with
there,
2 N's.
Yep, BINNS for mayor.com. And you'll find there, we have an Instagram and we have some Facebook if you want to go and do that. I have an email. If you have questions, we'd be more than thrilled for an email question. We like to respond to those. So, we're good to go on all that stuff.
All right, good deal. So, binsformayor.com. And, thanks for coming, Paul.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.